Over the years, I've seen many people dismiss the proposition of playing Undertale simply because of how it looks. Admittedly, its graphics are way worse than even of most indie games. For some people it's a part of the charm, but for others it's a deterrent. But I would say that in Undertale's case, the janky visuals are somewhat vital to the game's success. In that sense, it's actually similar to horror games. What do I mean by that? When you look at Undertale, you see pretty bare bones pixel art. But when you process it in your head, these basic characters turn into something more detailed. Your imagination does most of the work, bringing these characters to life in your mind. That's how the greatest horror games work. They allow your imagination to run wild. If you don't see the threat but you know that it's there, the scare factor goes through the roof. Of course, Undertale is not unique in this regard. Every game has fan art that surpasses the original work in terms of detail. But the Undertale community is absolutely unrivaled in their passion. Every person has different interpretations of different moments from the game. Undertale looks so basic that you can basically imagine anything you want. For example, everyone unanimously agreed that Undyne gave you a spear to protect yourself. It's never stated in the game, but people loved the idea so much that everyone just went with it. The boss fight animations are the peak of creativity in this fandom. In the game itself, the bosses are rather bare bones in spectacle, however artists brought so much life and passion into them that it's hard to look away. These fights transform into epic showdowns with choreography, effects and sheer coolness. I haven't counted, but my guess is that if we combined the views of all those different animations, we would go way over 1 billion. These videos are even more popular than the game itself. Many people might be surprised that the original fights look so basic in comparison. The game's various locations are also not very much in terms of visual appeal. They look nice, but not very impressive. My favorite two exceptions are the castle and the core overlook locations. Once again, artists bring new life into these places. They depict them as beautiful vistas that you just can't help but want to visit. That, combined with the reimagined boss fights, really makes me wish for an Undertale remake. I already consider this game one of the greatest of all time, but that would elevate it even more. The different character voices are also one of the funniest things in the fandom.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Everyone in Undertale talks like an Animal Crossing character. That's why, even as early as in the first Let's Plays, the voice interpretations began to appear. The Skeletor Papyrus is probably the most recognizable one. It seems that everyone had the same idea when reading his lines.
We should call you Wimplash, Bugface, Spider Brain.
But nowadays, people still can't agree how to voice Spamton.
I'm shitting myself!
How far we've fallen. Consider subscribing if you watched the video this far and you enjoyed. On topic of audio, the music is probably the second best thing in Undertale, after the writing. If you've played this game, then I don't need to tell you how great it is. But can it be even better? To be honest, I didn't enjoy the proposition at first. I mean, wouldn't changing it ruin the style? But then I heard the Undertale orchestra. I thought that this soundtrack was great with its retro sound font, but with real instruments, that's just a whole nother level. The battle tracks become epic and bombastic, while the location themes are way more layered and powerful. So even the music from this game can be experienced differently to enhance the experience. It's subjective of course, but I'd love to hear this orchestral music in the actual game. The voices, the music, the visuals, these are not the only things that can be considered up to the player's interpretation. That actually extends to the story somewhat. What I'm talking about are theories and headcanons. People try to fill in the gaps in our knowledge by exploring every possible detail. What's interesting is that different people come to different conclusions. Believe it or not, there are still debates about the author of the true lab entries. Personally, I believe that Alphys wrote them all except for entry 17. However, many people believe that they were partially written by Gaster. People see obscure moments in the story and interpret them in different ways, just as it happens with graphics and voices. Overall, to me, Undertale seems like a game of many interpretations.
It is a little something for everyone.
Everyone experiences it slightly differently. We imagine the epic fights, the fitting character voices, the unexplained story elements and lots of other things. And that's why I think that an Undertale remake would be a phenomenal game. But it would be hell to develop. When everyone has a different interpretation of every little moment in the game, it's impossible to please everyone. But I certainly hope that someday someone will be determined enough to undertake this task. Like, subscribe and have a great rest of your day.